Well, good morning, church, and welcome to the musing for June 22nd. Now, I'm sure that all of us are familiar with the episode in the Gospels in which Jesus drives the money changers from the temple. We read the description of what he did, and we get it. He was upset at what was going on. And he turned over the tables, and he chased them out with a whip. But just what was going on? Was it simply that Jesus didn't want commercial activity on temple property? Was Jesus angry about unfair currency exchange rates? Well, we don't have to guess. Just listen to what Jesus says. He says two things. Number one, my house should be a house of prayer. Jesus didn't just make that up. He was quoting Isaiah 56, which says, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. Note that for all nations part, because the people that heard him say that would have recognized the quote, and they would have known the part about all nations. In fact, they would have known the context of that whole passage. That piece of scripture is about inclusion. It's a listing of those who are welcome in the house of God, foreigners, outcasts, non-Jews. Through the prophet Isaiah, God is inviting the whole world into his presence, especially those who felt excluded. The temple in Jerusalem had been built with a special place for such people, the court of the Gentiles. And that's where the money changers and sacrificial animal salesmen were doing their business. In other words, God had said, come to me. And the religious establishment had said, hold on a minute, not so fast. We have some hoops you need to jump through. They were creating an obstacle to those whom God had invited to freely come as his guests. Maybe that was what Jesus was outraged by. His second comment was, you have made it a den of thieves. Again, Christ was quoting scripture, specifically Jeremiah 7, which says, you have made it a den of robbers. And again, this isn't just about financial shenanigans. After all, a robber's den is not where the robbing happens. A robber's den is where the thieves hide out. In some ways, perhaps the temple was functioning as a haven for those who exploited and interfered with the outsiders for whom the place was intended. The insiders were running the show in the place where the outsiders were supposed to be the focus, the place set aside for them. The building that should have brought people in was keeping people out. When Jesus cleared the place, I like to think that he was simply making space for those who had been invited to be there. And then I worry that I might be doing the very thing that Jesus so opposed. That I might be doing things that exclude those who seek God. Setting up barriers to the outsiders. Do I speak in church jargon? Do I distance myself from those I decide are sinful people? Do I act judgmentally, speak accusingly, or think uncharitably? Maybe what I need is for Jesus to clear out the courts of my mind, overturn some of my preconceptions, and drive out my errors. Because I want my Lord to get rid of anything in me that would in any way hinder one of his lost children from coming home. May that be the prayer of each of us. God bless you all.